In 1936, President FDR said there is nothing so American as our national parks. Over the course of the next few minutes, I'm going to take you on a journey of discovery and spark some interest in those national parks to you as the individual. I'm a park ranger, and I've been a park ranger since 2013 in some way, shape, or form, whether it's volunteering, an internship, or actually in the green and gray. I've actually been at Fort Sumter National Monument, Carlsbad Caverns National Park in New Mexico, and then finally here in Mississippi at Gulf Islands National Seashore. With today's talk, I hope to help you understand the creation of the National Park Service and the act that actually made that happen. Today we'll discuss a little bit about the 400 national parks that are out there, how the National Park Service became an agency, what actually created it, and why the National Park Service is so important even today. It all starts in 1872 with the very first national park. Yellowstone National Park was created under an act signed by Ulysses S. Grant. And within this act, it does talk about the injuring and spoiling of natural resources, the disruption of the timber and mineral resources, and the disruption of wildlife as well, because everybody is supposed to be able to enjoy this park. Before the Yellowstone Act was signed, there were other national areas that were protected as well. Abraham Lincoln protected Yosemite Valley, which is now Yosemite National Park. And Andrew Jackson protected the Hot Springs Reserve in Arkansas, which is now Hot Springs National Park in 1832. These two were not national parks, though. They were just protected areas. In 1906, another act was signed that actually helped the president protect areas just with the stroke of a pen. This is called the Antiquities Act. Teddy Roosevelt used it first. He protected the Grand Canyon with it, which we now know and is an icon of the American National Park System. By the eve of World War I, there were 34 national parks and monuments, and they needed a new and innovative agency to protect them. Stephen Mather was a businessman from Chicago, educated at the University of California, Berkeley, and was a very avid outdoorsman. He was also a member of the Sierra Club. With his influence, he actually was able to gain a position at the Secretary of Interior's office, using his influence to become the special assistant. Also with this influence, he was able to petition Congress and rally the American public behind him in order to create an agency to manage all the national parks and national monuments in the country. The Organic Act was created, and on August 25th, 1916, Woodrow Wilson signed this act into law, which helped to conserve and protect the natural resources, historical objects, and wildlife therein for the enjoyment of all people unimpaired for future generations. This act established the National Park Service, and it gave the Secretary of the Interior the means to hire people, park rangers, to manage and protect these areas with congressional approval. Always takes money. Over the course of the next century, though, is where the Park Service really starts to take off, using the idea behind the Organic Act and the innovation of Stephen Mather. Millions of acres, historic battlefields, homes, and even areas that tell darker stories of American history were protected. Some of these areas also expanded the scope of the National Park Service, and other acts were created to help that management process. The National Historic Preservation Act and Wilderness Act just being two of those in order to help protect historic areas and wilderness areas. There's 417 national park units as of this year. And one of those is right in our backyard, Gulf Islands. The other ones span from 0.02 acres, that's a home in Philadelphia, to something the size of Yellowstone and Yosemite combined in Alaska, which is Wrangell-St. Elias National Park and Preserve. The Organic Act and the creation of the National Park Service are the main reasons that people need to understand why these areas are important. The how they were created with the very first national park in 1872, the what created them, the Organic Act, and the importance behind them and why people should understand them are all reasons why 417 units are protected. Your journey begins here though. And in order to understand these parks, you have to get out and explore them. You have to learn how to protect them and learn about them. There's a National Park Service site in every state of the country. And anywhere that you find the National Park Service arrowhead, it's a national park. And your American story might be able to fit in it. Me as a park ranger, I get to find mine every day. And hopefully, with the exploration that you have, you can actually learn more about your American story. Thank you. And this is not the end though, because social media has taken the National Park Service into the 21st century. And with Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram, you can share your experience and learn more about the national parks.